Up. This is Tinian, isn't it? The bridge of Tinian. We decided to have some breakfast here. Even less.
I was talking to a couple of guys out there, they said it's possible to get to Longlapook, but they couldn't give me an idea of...
Het doet een beetje denken aan Rudy. Wat een troep, hè? Het restaurant. Deze draagkast zit een haan.
Ini nih mas. Big Boss.
Big Boss.
Big Boss.
Ini ada yang mau This is the gambling. Ha, lain bawa. For the
Roulette. Allemaal kippen. Nog steeds de bug. Leuke trip. Nou, het wordt hier wel echt heel mooi. En dan opeens dit. Het eerste wat je te binnen schiet is ontbossing. Maar dat is toch niet helemaal zo? Deze terreinen worden aangelegd om palmolie te verplanten. We zijn even gestopt. Les wel even weten waar het is. Joeha! Joeha! That's fantastic, hè?
Yeah.
Tijd voor een drankje, even stoppen. Grote hoop blubber weer. Hey, hij is er ook. We zijn op de terugweg omdat we eigenlijk het meer niet konden vinden en dus ook niet het plaatsje wat ernaast is. De weg is op de een of andere manier veranderd. Les herkende het niet meer, we hebben het nog gevraagd, maar dat lukte niet. Hele leuke dag gehad. Ik zit onder de modder, want ik heb het hele stuk op de motor teruggereden. Het regende verschrikkelijk. Wel heel erg leuk. Prima dag gehad.
The epic expedition of Wildigs et al. To Longsan in July 1992. Here are the et al. Wildigs, there were all of us actually. Margaret and myself, Charles and Sarah. And the Winders, is it 4 or 5? 4 of them, that's right. Les and his family. Adam and Chris and Patrick van der Velden. And we set out in 3 4-wheel drives from via Tinjar to Longsan, total distance of something like 210, 220 kilometers. We did 530 kilometers return with some detouring that whole weekend, of which about 110 to 120 were on rough forestry tracks, which will feature in the video clips we're going to show. But as an experiment, we're going to mix in some of, or possibly all, of Adam's photographs of the trip as well, to add interest to the total sequence. The start was not very auspicious. It rained. In fact, it rained most of the Saturday on the way out. And here we are under the Tinjar Bridge on a very muddy track where we stopped for a cup of coffee, but unfortunately at this point Les, in the Land Rover that you can see at the back of the 3 vehicles here, also sustained a puncture, and he drove in fact for the rest of the day without a spare tyre until we could get it fixed at one of the logging camps fairly close to Longsan. The vehicles you see there on the left is the Isuzu of Shells, which I used, Patrick van der Velden's Isuzu, and Les Winder's Land Rover. Here you can see the bridge. We zoom out a little. So here we are then on the Tinjar Bridge. This is the River Tinjar underneath it. And here's then looking around rather low, threatening clouds, rain. And that's the little community that's grown up under the Tinjar Bridge. Here's the River Tinjar itself. Right, well, we've just managed to get up this incredibly slippery hill, but unfortunately one of the cars is in some trouble. But fortunately we got the Land Rover with us with a hefty rope as well, so he'll be able to drag him up, we hope.
John, can you hang on the back? Yeah. Stretch it straight back down the road, and I'll just back far enough to get to him.
Okay.
Well, I'll get you on film anyway.
All right.
Here we are, having just risked life and limb. You can't actually see it, but there's an enormous drop down the side of the road there. I did the wise thing and got out to take photographs. Sarah and Patrick stayed in to be towed out. Although it's not raining at the moment, you can see how sticky the mud is, and the camera is deceptive. It doesn't show you quite how steep the hill is. I can assure you it's incredibly steep, and this is the point, much to everyone's relief, where Patrick's vehicle was finally pulled out and towed up the hill.
This is the easy bit. Junction ahead.
Should be a wooden bridge coming out sometime. 13 point something. 13.8 or drawings.
Cut this one. I think the wrong way. Hornbill.
It doesn't look like the last thing we saw.
Amazing, we actually saw a hornbill. Okay, team. Smile, please.
Anyone else for Bridge Arrow?
Oh, yeah, to swim in the river at Longstand.
So you want to go into
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Need one.
Here you'll see how Les buries the cans. You found gold? Found gold?
No, not yet.
Here's one of Adam's photographs taken from the same spot where previously on the video you'd seen the hornbill.
trees have been flooded and killed through overwatering.
This is the picture that Adam took in the rain on that previous sequence of the video. Here's the video version of those same trees. Adam's still shot of the same point in the road with the bulldozer hanging above the road. I think it was later at this spot the following day where in fact the road was completely changed, and indeed we followed the bulldozers through yet again, so clearly they're having some problem stabilising the road in this area. Here we are almost halfway in to Long Sand, one of the high points, very high above the forest. All you can see in the distance is the same forest. Here's a little hornbill.
And they have them in cages, which aren't much bigger than the birds. That's one of the cruelest things I've ever seen.
The logs that you've just seen previously in the video, and this photograph shows you how enormous these logs are, and this particular effect using my wide angle lens gets a great feeling of perspective and the size of the logs.
In order here, from left to right, are Tony, John, Les, Thomas and Patrick, Adam, Mum, myself, and then Judy is at the top, Charles sitting on the log, and so is Chris.
The Barham River, off of the saddle at about 550 metres above sea level.
Okay, you two close. Right. You two bends together. Thanks.
Almost in the cloud line now, then very, very muddy, very wet.
I am bad if the camera faces on.
Right at the instant we're shooting, he walked right across the field. Some authentic sounds have been crashing with ears.
So authentic.
Les's Land Rover. See very clearly there how high we are, right up in the cloud line. You can also see that Les has got his hood up now, having been soaked by the rain in his convertible Land Rover. He stopped every now and again to put his hood up.
They arrived at Long Sand looking like urchins, and we were fairly pristine, having stayed inside our air-conditioned cars and let Les do all the dirty work for us. Right in front of all of you. Would you like to say a few words?
I don't think of any words to say when people ask me that. Guys, 11 miles of Canada.
smelly vision to smell a diesel exhaust. Who's got the window open?
It'd be just incredible just to not be able to go from that. It's just last minute. We're almost on sand. Hijack it.
There's been sliding around.
Not actually gone completely sideways in this one. Not like patches. Puts it back on its top.
This picture demonstrates just how treacherous the road surfaces were. Not even the skilled and experienced lorry drivers could get along them without something happening to them.
It also explained something else. It explained why we hadn't seen any logging trucks all day. The road was far too greasy. The next day we saw plenty of logging trucks when the road had dried out considerably on the way back. Don't worry about it. Ready? Here's a couple of pretty effective action shots of Maya Isuzu going through a ford. Adam took these two in quick succession. And here's the second, both very dramatic. Here's the mission school at Long Sand. Long Sand's on the Barron River, about 350 kilometres upriver, measured along the river itself, and 200 kilometres in by road. Until very recently, the only access was by road, was by river. We spent the morning at the Tatan Hotel, and that's what woke us up. Not the best hotel we've ever stayed in. And this little old lady, Adam photographed leaning over the balustrade of the longhouse. She's a typical Kenyan woman, probably not more than in her 40s or 50s, I suppose, despite the fact she looks old and wrinkled. But you will notice the extended earlobes, particularly on her right ear, which would normally be weighted down with brass ornaments. Sign of wealth and also, I think, of beauty. Here's Les handing out some sweets at the Longhouse. One of the youngsters fancied himself as an England footballer, I think. And wouldn't Les make a nice Father Christmas? And these young rascals also from the Longhouse at Long San. Also at Long San, we believe that it's probably a part of the mission school, but that's not too clear. The Barham River is to be seen through the trees to the right of the building. And a Traveller's Palm, also at Long San. Here's our 3 cars parked outside the Patna Hotel. Upstairs the bedrooms. Downstairs is a sort of a general store. This is looking across towards the Barham, probably across the Barham there. Footpath connecting the mission to the Barham River itself. There's a Barham in the background there. Les and Patrick coming back, and now here's the mighty Barham. 350 kilometres still to flow to the sea. And the ubiquitous outboard motor carrying the speedboat coming up there. See the longboats, here they are. We tried to hire one where the kids could go downriver. Unfortunately, the price they wanted was far too high. Ceremonial longboat. Great artery. Here's a family down by the riverside. And now back up at the Longhouse. Not a particularly large longhouse, an unusual design. Kenyan tribe. There's the balcony at the end where the old lady was photographed by Adam in the previous picture. This is a grain store, storing rice. You see the plates that stop the rats from climbing up. See on the top of the legs there, those flat plates. We came here to look for the ferry, see if we get a longboat from the ferry. What do we find? This enormous new bridge has been built across the Barham River. Amazing bridge and river. Just for logging trucks, this. And from the logging camp slightly upriver from that ferry crossing point, we look down now on the on the bridge crossing point. We look at the bridge across the Barham. We tried again to find a longboat here and failed yet again. We didn't drive very far from the bridge, we crossed it though. Dramatic looking peak.
I know, the clouds seem to mirror those.
Isn't it lovely? Don't look at the road conditions, chaps. As far vastness of the forests. Wherever you drive, it just goes on and on and on. Interesting piece of road up here, very narrow, stretched with steep drops either side, bolstered by logs. This is Long Na. This is the grain store again, with the, this time, wooden disc to prevent rats climbing up. Ubiquitous tin roofs. And here's a wooden roof, a shingled roof grain store. The disc to stop the rats. The upper longhouse at Long Na. There are two longhouses running parallel. It seems that the children weren't in the church, or at least not all of them. Church service going on in the background. That building there, which looks like a school. And here are some of Adam's photographs taken also at Long Na. The same children.
More of the children. They would follow us around wherever we went. Obviously the height of their day or week, so it seems.
And yet another one of Adam's shots of children peeking at us wherever we went. This is the lower of the two longhouses. Here's the playing field, which the children themselves cut apparently early in the morning. They cut a small part each day. And our party, that's the schoolmaster on the left who's explaining to us. Les had actually seen the schoolmaster before. He'd stayed at the same village, the same kampong. Here we are going back down to the water's edge and looking for a boat to take us back. We had some difficulty finding such a boat. These children were still fascinated with us down at the water's edge. And here's where we were waiting for the boatman. In fact, we eventually found the boatman. They were smoking ganja. They brought us across for free, but of course they wanted a fortune to get us back again. Ganja or not, they were very good businessmen. Back to Adam's pictures, again these boatmen who were rather reluctant to take us over the river in their sort of metal-held speedboats on the Barron River. And across this enormously wide river, looking through Adam's telephoto, you see these sort of rafts of logs, two small boats and a couple of boatmen looking after them, sweeping down. Now I'd estimate the speed of the river here was probably 5, maybe 6 knots. And by the way, this is probably still 300 kilometres from the sea. Want a warm one?
I think the problem is the electrical defence.
This is on the roof of the world here. So it seemed. 655 metres. We stopped for Patrick's problem. He'd got a boiling radiator, a cooling problem. But you can see the scenery is actually superb. 655 metres altitude, if I recall correctly. The logging tracks follow the ridges. And now a couple of photographs of Adams in the same place, and again Patrick's car boiling at the time. We solved the problem by wiring the radiator fan permanently on. Return journey, the weather was dry and the logging trucks were out in full force trying to make up from the wet, slippery day that we'd had the day before. And this is quite a hazard because the logging trucks do not keep to any particular side of the road. They're rather massive and they travel at enormous speeds with great loads of logs. Here is one such Mercedes truck with a tremendous framework around the cab to protect the driver in event of an accident, as you'll notice. And accidents are not infrequent. Not that our vehicles didn't also look powerful. Here's Les's ubiquitous Land Rover, which we're very grateful to have with us since it could pull us out of a deal of trouble, and indeed did the previous day. The hazards of these roads, the grader has gone off the roads upside down. We don't think anybody was hurt. It obviously happened a few minutes before, or maybe a few hours before. Adam's picture probably captures it a little better than the video. Rather graphic. Here's a very rough stretch of road. Don't hit the windscreen with it, son. Just hold it steady against your face, please.
You can't hold it steady against your face. Fix it.
Now, take your sunglasses then. My apologies to poor Charles for trying to hold the camera steady at that point. Hold there, Charles. Bulldozer. Ahead of us there were bulldozers working on the brow trying to improve the road surface for the logging trucks. Adam's picture here captures it. Two bulldozers on either side of the track. I think there's a fuel truck coming the opposite way, and Les Winder's Land Rover. What we should say is that all of the logging people that we met along the way were really most helpful. Always gave a cheery wave, always tried to help us through. Here the object of the picture was that tree with the red leaves and the white bark. The usual brigade fruit on this tree, like football-sized red plums. But next to it again is this strange tree with the very, very white bark and the red leaves. There's something quite like it. Stop making me laugh when I'm trying to film. This is a real mammoth hill. I estimate that this slope down is about 1 in 2, and about 1 in 3 up the other side. The Land Rover's gone ahead, and here's Patrick's Isuzu going down. And we're waiting at the top for him to clear the hill so that we can... This hill? You can see the Land Rover right at the top of the hill. Slippery too, down.
Here we go.
This has been particularly tricky the previous day.
This is the closest to 1 in 1 you can imagine.
Remember all these silly lines to come out.
Technique is to engage low-range four-wheel drive all the time. Keep the wheels turning.
Squelch. And now up.
It's
very long.
And this is the same hill seen on Adam's photograph, and we'll now attempt, by manipulating this device here, to pan up the picture and show you the hill. Now, there it goes. Up into the distance. Building it for us.
thinking dog.
I think there may be a small Adam's view of the same thing. 3 bulldozers making our road. There's obviously been a landslip during the rains the previous day. In fact, these sort of bulldozers are working continuously along the length of the road. Maintaining such a road is a tremendous effort. And here's one of these Caterpillar bulldozers. There must be hundreds along the 110 kilometre road from Tinjar to Longsan. Hundreds of them. To get the scale of the size of these logging trucks, here's Les's Land Rover overtaking one. It also, by the way, gives the impression of how winding the road is, that you could see this from the following vehicle. Dust is frequently a problem too, as you can see here. Again, Les following closely behind a logging truck, looking for an opportunity to overtake. Getting close to Tinjar now. This very narrow road, logging truck, to Tinjar Bridge. Interestingly, the logging tracks themselves do not connect through to the main Miri road route. The trucks carry the logs down to the riverside. They're launched into the river on great rafts and towed down the river by tugs, eventually to be loaded onto ships waiting in the Barham Delta. But also with steep drops on either side in places. Here's an intrepid photographer.
Right. 299 point. The hill.
Very close to Tinjar.
Where's the Donald today? No, Les called Patrick.
Yeah, use that acquired.
And here's one of the photographs taken by that intrepid photographer, Adam, looking back at the Isuzu that I was driving at the time, with Margaret and Charles and Chris on board. Adam and Sarah being with Patrick in the middle Isuzu, and Les and his family in the leading Land Rover. This gives the impression of just how muddy that short connecting track between the logging track and the Tinjar Bridge is in places, even after virtually a day of dry weather. And that then concluded what was a marvellous weekend's adventure, including the overnight at the hotel, in inverted commas, at Longsan, the fun with the logging trucks and the high road and the endless forests stretching for as far as the eye could see. It had its downs. Unfortunately, we were not able to get Sarah, Adam and Charles and Chris onto a longboat to Marudi as we'd planned. The local longboat operators asked for far too high a price. Nonetheless, it was a real adventure. What a marvellous weekend.